we're live, brother. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm pretty good, man. We got a day one difference maker, protector of the blind side, top offensive lineman, highest rated top offensive lineman since 2007 is what I've seen. I got to go back and do the research on that, but that's Kelvin Banks, man, in Texas. And I went in there and put a tweet in there. We were just talking about it. And I put a tweet in on Twitter earlier. Beware, we got a flash flood warning. I should have juiced it up a little bit more than what I did, but I think that's what it started on this offensive line, where it looks like it's going with all these crystal balls kind of rolled in with these other offensive linemen.
Absolutely. It's a big day for Texas. Like the unofficial visitor list, the official visitor list is loaded. You kind of chronicled it. Like you kind of stole my thunder. I was going to appreciate your tweet as well. Flash flood warning was phenomenal by you. But talking about Kelvin Banks initially committed to Oklahoma State over a year ago, and then decommitted from Oklahoma State. We thought we had a chance to get him, and then he committed to Oregon. But finally, the man is coming home, and he is an absolute juggernaut, like you said, a guy that can come in on that left tackle. He's projected as left tackle, and I don't see him moving. But a guy who's just not a guy who could protect the blind side of the quarterback, but a guy who can move in space. Like you watch him pull and kill kids. Like you said, there was a film. I've watched Cole Hudson make a guy do a backflip in the secondary. I've now seen Kelvin Banks like annihilate a linebacker, not a secondary guy, but annihilate a linebacker. And like you said a little bit earlier, made him make a business decision in the middle of that football game. But yeah, Kelvin Banks is an absolute stud, a gift to the 40 acres, and excited that he's coming. Like you said, it's the highest ranked offensive lineman come to the 40 acres since 2007. And we need this guy to start that train with guys like Mullet and Devin Campbell to solidify that area of need that we know we have.
Yeah, and I think Steve Wilfong did a from 247 did a nice write up today. Some people look at it, well, it's kind of backhanded. I thought it was real, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's where you got to be at this point, in where Texas has been at. He was talking about you can have all the playmakers you want to, man. You can have all the Quinn Ewers, you can have he threw Quinn Ewers came out there. Xavier Worthy. You can have all those guys, man. But if you don't have the big uglies up front on both sides of the ball, it doesn't do your linebackers any good. It doesn't do your secondary any good if you don't have those defensive linemen, which we pulled a really, really, really strong defensive line group in now. At this point, we just hope they all, when they get to that signing day on the 15th, man, those NIL, I mean those letter of intent start coming in,
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with the offensive line. I was going to say, hell, it don't matter what quarterback you bring in this year. Yeah, obviously Quinn Ewers is going to be the big name, transfer portal, bring him home back to Texas. But to me, you got to be confident as a quarterback that your blind side is probably going to be protected over the next 3 years, because it would not surprise me. I'm not sure if Kelvin Banks is an early enrollee, but come signing day, once he signs that letter of intent, here's the playbook, dude. I need you to have that prepared by the time you come in here in the summertime.
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. And that's what they're selling guys like him and Devin Campbell and Malik Ogbo and Cole Hudson and Carter Robertson, is you have a chance to compete. Like when you look at the tackle position at the University of Texas, Derek Kerstead was there for 5 years. He's now graduated. You got a guy like Isaiah Hookfin, just looking off the two deep of the last football game, who just had a motorcycle accident. Not sure where he's coming back. You have a guy like Christian Jones, who's going to be a senior next year. But after that, there's not much depth. You got Andre Carrick coming back, but they kind of moved him inside towards the latter part of the season. So not really sure where you're going with that tackle position with what you have on the 40 acres. So as many of these big bodies that you can get who are dynamic, like a Kelvin Banks, is what we need on the 40 acres.
Yeah, I mean, you were kind of talking about the offensive line earlier. We were talking about, where do you put people, and it's if this class works out the way that you think it's going to work out, it's going to put us in a position where we have those analytical talks about guys that can play, but almost, on the first and second team on the offensive line, because where do you put those pieces? To me, Kelvin Banks signs on Wednesday. Again, he's not an early enrollee, but he's got the frame to start day one. It's almost, you put him at left tackle, you push, you have that battle. Obviously you want these guys to come in and compete. That's number one, right? You don't want to give somebody a position when they walk in. I'm just talking about a top 15 guy, 5-star guy that everybody wanted. It has the potential to be your day one starter on the left side. And then you have that battle, Andre Carrick or Christian Jones at that right tackle position. Hayden Connor is played well in spurts last year when he had his time, or this year when he had his time to play. And then if you go out there and get a Devin Campbell and you get a Malik Ogbo and Connor Robertson and the Cole Hudson, and then the guys you currently have on the 40 acres that are still there. Where does Junior Angelau fit the picture? Where does Jake Major fit the picture? Because I think if it was up to, and this is just me, thinking if Kyle Flood had an opportunity, it seemed like he wanted to get Junior Angelau, snaps as a center, versus a guard last year. But out of necessity, he might have had to play Jake Majors instead of him at center. So I think you have a lot more moving pieces. Yeah, they're young guys. They're fresh out of high school. But when you can land 5-star talent to create competition in your room, I think the sky's the limit.
Yeah, I think your 23 line, as I just drew it out, you got Kelvin Banks at left tackle, Hayden Connor at left guard, probably Jake Majors at center, Devin Campbell, and then like you said, you got to decide on who that right tackle piece is going to be. But you have guys like you said that can play that position, like a Cole Hudson, maybe like an Andre Carrick, maybe like anybody else in this that may come into this class, like a Cole Hudson, they could play that right tackle position. But I think 23 offensive line, not necessarily next year, but I think some of these pieces may fit into that line next year. But I definitely think that 2023, you're going to be looking at, like I say, Kelvin Banks, Hayden Connor, Jake Majors will be a senior, and then Devin Campbell, and then whoever else fits in that right tackle position. But there's pieces that are young on the campus right now, and pieces that we're trying to bring in to solidify that position group.
And it's crazy out of all this, man, that you still you still have momentum. This coaching staff has been able to do with the subpar season that you had, 5-7. I think that's what's they're out there recruiting, man, and they're recruiting hard. And we knew that Banks was brought in. They paid him a lot of money to come in and close a lot of these deals out. Kyle Flood, obviously coming from the NFL and then coming from Alabama with the offensive lineman that he had there. He was going to be able to work his magic. It just took a little longer for this offensive line group to get going versus, the defensive line, really the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, and all the things we're talking about is, like you said, you got 9 guys. I think Rod Babers talked about in that front 7 that are coming in this 2022 class that are prepared to sign on the 15th. Where you needed to solidify it was in the offensive line trenches, and guys were talking about with Cole, Connor, and then we do expect other guys to sign along with Kelvin Banks in this 2022 class. But you've started working. And you haven't even used the portal yet. You haven't even gone to the portal. That's why I threw up those 3 comments of, hey, yeah, this is what's currently on the 40 acres. This is what it's currently looking at in this 2022 class, and we haven't even touched the transfer portal yet.
Yeah, a lot of conversation about Denver Harris, man, and you'd had a conversation with me before we came on here because you'd watched his state the
Lake Travis and Glen Park North Shore.
Yeah, you want to talk a little bit about that?
What is there not to say? Like, Caleb Burton couldn't do anything. Like, he is a juggernaut. Like, he literally followed Caleb Burton across, whether he was in the slot, whether he was on the left side, whether he was on the right side, whether he was on the boundary, whether he was on the field side. He followed him. Number 3 followed number 8 all over the field. He completely shut him down. Like, this kid is an absolute, and that's the first time I got to see him actually from the first play of the game to the end of the game. Of course, we get film, which highlights, their accomplishments and what they do well. This kid is an absolute beast, man. And he was one of the – when we started talking about can't misses for Texas, we started with the offensive line. We said Kelvin Banks, Devon Campbell, Bryce Anderson, and Denver Harris were our guys. There was 2 offensive guys and 2 defensive guys for me. Two, and, of course, the young man out of Liberty, Frisco Liberty, Evan Stewart, who recently signed with A&M, was on that list as well. But when you're talking about my can't misses for this class, it was Devin Campbell, Kelvin Banks, Bryce Anderson, and Denver Harris. And Denver Harris just proved to me today that he's that guy. Like, he is going to shut down one side of the field, whoever he decides to go and play for.
He's equivalent to Kelvin Banks on the defensive side of the ball, man. He's one of those game changers that come in and You don't have to worry about, either the field side, or the boundary side of the football field because he shut it out completely. You know what I'm saying? We throw it to the other side, or you know what? We don't have to roll coverage over to this cornerback because we know that he can handle this man one-on-one. So I just want to kind of throw that out there. There's a bunch of Denver Harris comments in the chat right now.
Absolute stud.
Yeah. So let's talk about crystal balls, man, that have happened over the last 4 days. This is the last 4 days. We had, again, Will Fong got phoned. Devin Campbell got phoned to Texas right after Kelvin Banks made his decision. It's like, damn, we're going to have 2 5-star offensive linemen commit on the same day, but I think he wants to wait till the Under Armour game, if I'm not mistaken, All-Star game to make that commitment. It's possible he's already made it silent, but probably just wants to hold out until that game so he can make that decision on national television. And then you got Terrence Gibbs, running back out of Florida. I guess he was one of the top. If you go back and look at it, I actually did some history here. If you go back in I want to think 2020, early 2020, he was ranked about a 98 by 247, tore his ACL, had to sit out a year. So obviously he dropped in the recruiting rankings. I think he's currently sitting at I think at 89. But he's running back out of Florida. Just got a crystal ball from him. Savion Red, wide receiver out of Grand Prairie. Crystal ball for him. I think he's one of those guys that's a tweener between a running back and a slot receiver. I think he's currently sitting at about 5'10", 210 pounds, but I think he runs like a 4.5 40. So he's a matchup nightmare for somebody. And then Malik Ogbo, offensive tackle out of Washington. They're in Federal Way. I think Federal Way, Washington, if I'm not mistaken there, Jeremy. Another interior, I think offensive tackle is what 247 has, Matt, but he probably is going to scoot down to interior offensive line. It wouldn't I'd probably do that based on weight and size. And then Larry Turner Gooden, safety out of California, also received, got some crystal balls, man. That's all happened over the last 4 days, man. I just want to keep the momentum going, man. I would love to see somebody commit tonight. If not commit tonight, let's get another commit on a Sunday and then turn around and get another commit on Monday and then start working towards a Wednesday, probably when I'm not going to get any work done at work, to be honest.
Yeah, same. Like I go on vacation from the 18th of December to the 2nd of January, and it's a much needed vacation. But yeah, like you said, I think Devin's one of those guys who's committed to an All-Star game. He told them when he committed to that All-Star game that was going to be his commitment date. But I got a feeling that like you say, these solid commitments are a thing, and I got to feel really, really good. Like he was going to make a trip to USC that he canceled. He was going to make a trip to Georgia that he canceled. I think the writing's on the wall that he's going to end up being a Longhorn, but I don't put too many eggs in one basket. I don't like to prognosticate. I don't like to say a thing is sure thing. Like people asked me today what the Quinn Ewers situation was, and I said 75-25. I feel like it was a good thing he was on campus today amongst all those guys that we know are going to commit and guys that are really interested in the program and listen to Steve Sarkisian talk, listen to Torrey Beckton talk. But again, I'll never say a thing is 100% certainty. But when you're talking about guys like Terrence Gibbs, again, you lost a kid, Miller, out of Tyler, who decommitted and is going someplace else, and you pick up Terrence Gibbs, possibly. You got a guy like Savion Red, like when you told me his dimensions of 5'10", 210 pounds, you instantly think running back. But this is a guy who did a backflip on the 50-yard line of DKR today. His athletic ability is probably up there with any 4-star, 5-star recruit that's out there. Blake Ogbo has been on everybody's radar, including the Oklahomas, the A&Ms, all those programs that have been after Malik Ogbo. It'd be great to have him. And then Larry Turner Gooden, who's a good friend of Malik Murphy's out of California, who was originally committed to Arizona State, is now crystal ball to Texas. So again, you're looking at interior offensive lineman, outside offensive lineman, looking to replace that running back decommit that you had, and then trying to build that secondary who recently had, guys like BJ Foster, and I talked about it before. We jumped on there. Marcus Caldwell and Chris Adamora entered the transfer portal just this week. So you got to start adding bodies to that secondary as well.
Yeah. Got a comment up here because before we touch what Greg Sinclair is talking about, is the quarterback signed yet, or is he going to Texas Tech? Let's talk about our committed quarterback first. That's what I want to do. Let's get that. We got a committed quarterback in this class, Malik Murphy, probably one of my favorite recruits, Texas recruits of all time. Quiet, humble leader. Currently playing or leading his team to a state championship. And if anybody's got the numbers on that, the score on that game, please toss it up on the chat. currently playing in the California 1A state championship. So I definitely want to bring that up before we start talking Quinn Ewers, because we do have a quarterback, Elite 11 quarterback that's in this class that's currently playing for a state championship in California.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I want to do that before we get into this Quinn Ewers saga, sighting, Instagram lives, because he is there on the 40 acres, man. You can't miss the mullet. Can't miss the mullet there in any of the pictures. But, so if like I said, anybody's got that score of Malik's game, man, please let us know what that score is. There's Quinn Ewers sighting on the 40 acres today. I know you have it at 75-25, but damn, Texas Tech is scaring the hell out of me. But I think if you were going to bring Quinn Ewers to the 40 acres, this was the day to do it. One, again, you get a commitment from a five-star offensive tackle that he knows is probably going to protect him for his career there at Texas. To get to know some of these players, I know Xavier Worthy's been in his ear. I know a couple of times I've seen some photos and some videos where Xavier Worthy was talking to him, probably telling him how good they could be together there. But we'll kind of see where the cookie crumbles, man. I don't think he's going to make a decision, a fast decision why he's there on the 40 acres. I think he's probably going to take a day, maybe two, to kind of let things cool down and go back and look at the drawing board to see what is best for him.
Yeah, I just think I think a Tuesday campus visit, a Wednesday campus visit to Texas Tech and TCU, and then a Saturday campus visit when all these other players are here means a little more. Not like I said, I'm not putting eggs in one basket. I'm not saying that he's a sure thing to Texas, but I think having him there on a Saturday when events are happening with other recruits that have already committed to the university. And again, these are his peers. Like, yes, he was on Ohio State's campus for a year, but this class is the guys that he grew up with and played with and knows very, very well. That's why we put 22 effect with Quinn Ewers on the thumbnails, because in my mind, Quinn Ewers is still a 2022 guy. Like, yeah, he came to Ohio State and he handed the ball off a couple of times in a game that really didn't matter to anybody or anything. So in my mind, he's still a 2022 guy. He's an insert into the 2022 class. And if we're lucky enough to get him, that's a thing. But yeah, not to discredit Malik Murphy in any kind of way. It just allows quarterback competition. It allows the room to get deeper. It allows you to have, like you said, two Elite 11 quarterbacks who I say are in the same class because they competed against each other in Elite 11 before, Quinn went to Ohio State. But yeah, I'm excited.
So score right now, Sarah losing 10-7 at halftime. So Malik things after the half and will your team to victory there in that state championship.
Yep.
So on to some transfer portal news. Ryan Watts, man, out of we'll say Little Elm. Is that correct?
Yep.
Little Elm, Texas. Looked like he's in a transfer portal, and I kind of went to because it felt like the smoke was leaning towards Texas. It looked like that. I guess he was leaning towards Texas, or the idea of him coming to Texas. So I kind of went and did some research, man. I went over to Bucknuts 247 to see what their thoughts on Ryan Watts were, and it sounded like they didn't want to lose this guy, man. He seems like he's a tweener between safety and corner, and I think if we have a need in the transfer portal, I think getting one, maybe two guys that you necessarily need in that defensive backfield is definitely a thing.
Yeah, I kind of talked about it a little bit earlier with Foster going to transfer portal. Again, you thought you were going to lose him because he was a senior anyway, whether he went, and of course he walked. So you thought you were going to lose him, but then he enters the transfer portal, decides to continue his career. And then you got guys like Marcus Caldwell, Chris Adamora, who've left the program. Like I said, you need bodies back there. And if you can get experienced bodies, and I know we were one of Ryan Watts' last few teams that he was thinking about before he committed to Ohio State. But like you said, the body, a versatile body that you can put at safety, maybe nickel, and definitely a corner is a body you'd like to have. But you're going to see how this 2022 recruiting class irons out. You're going to have to see, again, when I saw a little meme earlier this week on Twitter that says I was number 3 on the depth chart on my college football team. Now they've been in a transfer portal. I'm number 1,033. So again, it's a good kid to have. You're gonna canvass the transfer portal. You're gonna try to figure out the kids that fit your scheme, just like you're doing in recruiting. You're not just gonna grab anybody just because you think that they were once a 5-star and and they have the ability if they don't fit your scheme.
Yeah. Johnny Munoz, man, when is at Texas Football Talk getting an NIL deal? Bring it on, man. Bring it on. Johnny Munoz, we definitely appreciate that. There's 111 people in here watching tonight. If you wouldn't mind hitting that like button, Jeremy put out a tweet today. I think we were trying to hit the magic number of 2,500 in Twitter. I think we got close to 3,000. Nowhere near Kelvin Banks' tweet that he put out. I think he was at about a 9,000 likes. 9,000 likes, 130, I think 137 quote tweets, if I'm not mistaken, in a matter of an hour. So, Texas fans were amped up for that. They were ready for that 1 o'clock time frame. I know Jeremy put like a countdown. What do they call that thing?
An hourglass.
Hourglass on there at like 52 minutes before, man. But 9,000 tweets in an hour. So you knew Texas Longhorn fans were excited and they were ready for that announcement from Kelvin Banks. If you looked at kind of news last night, you knew it was happening. If you went over to that team out east, 247, they had kind of they're the guys that run their site. They'd kind of given up hope last night. And when they gave up hope, I was like, yeah, it's a nail in the coffin. It's a win for Texas, and we're going to have a lot more of those competition, really those battles between us and them, man. It's going to happen. But in order to turn over this roster, in order to turn over the culture, we have to continue to do what we're doing. How many guys do you think we signed? How many scholarships you have available right now for the signing class currently sitting at 22? You think it ends at 26 or 27?
I said 27, but you think But like I said, then you had 3 guys enter the transfer portal this week. So I think it's still 27, 28. But going back to how you're talking about, things change. Like Mike Elko just left, the defense coordinator for A&M, just took a head coaching job at Duke. And guys that we've been after, and credit to the Texas staff who were on Kelvin Banks from the time he committed to Oklahoma State to the time he committed to Oregon. They were still after in hot pursuit and keeping those relationships open. I think you're still looking at guys like Bryce Anderson, who said, wow, after Mike Elko decided to jump ship and go to Duke, there's still some guys out there that you would love to have. But I think the number's 27, but that number continues to change day to day when guys are in the transfer portal, decommitments from this class. And you just got to keep all your eyes open in all areas to see how you can create the best 2022 class possible. So, and again, this is the first signing day. You're probably going to get 22 or 23, but between now and in February, how many roster spots are going to open up? How many guys who haven't committed or haven't signed a national letter of intent are still available that can make your roster better? I think so. To answer your question, I think it's 27, 28, but we'll see how many guys we lose and how many guys decide to wait till February, and if there's holes that we can fill in our roster.
Steve Sexton, Banks committed at 1 p.m. the same time yours arrived. It was planned. It's crazy to think that it wouldn't be planned. All the stuff we planned and all these 4 or 5-star guys be there at the same time that you're telling Quinn Ewers to come visit this weekend. You absolutely wanted him to be on the 40 acres today with those guys from that recruiting class. So hopefully he can feed in the same energy that they're feeling, because they bring it every day, man. These guys are out there recruiting. We talk about it all the time. The loyalty they have, the retweets, the tweets, the Instagram lives, man. I've never seen anything. And I think it's just a new group of high school athletes, but this is the way it is going to be moving forward. But our guys are on top of this. Go ahead, Jeremy.
And if you had an opportunity to listen to Sark talk to them today, and they weren't all there. Again, Connor Robinson's playing in a state semifinal football game. There were guys that weren't able to be there. But if you listen to him talk, you heard him talk about his first class and winning them a championship trophy. And he wasn't talking about a conference championship trophy. He was talking about a national championship trophy. And he's talking to Derek Brown. He's talking to whoever was there in that room. And we know the list, but I'm not going to go down the list. But Quinn Ewers was there as well. And it's just, I think there's something to be said for this is my first true impact on this organization. Yeah, I picked up a couple of transfers that we needed help in linebacker. Yeah, I picked up Xavier Worthy as a transfer from Michigan. But this is my first chance to impact my roster, to bring my guys in. And I think he has made them feel that way. Like we're the first class that Steve Sarkisian and Kyle Flood, Bo Davis believes in that can change this program, and that belief carries over. And they talk to other recruits about that, and I think it's a building block. They want to be a part of a building block to turn this program around, and they've shown that since the time they committed. Especially guys like Derek Brown and Justice Finkley continue to show up, and like you said, with Instagram lives and bringing other players in and making them, like right before we went on air, it was who did we have on there? It was Brown and Austin Jordan, the defensive back from Denton Ryan, were on Instagram Live talking Texas football. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah. Same thing with Becton. Becton was in the locker room today doing the same thing, man, having a speech, talking about these guys coming in to make a difference. And these guys aren't committed guys, man. Some of these guys are uncommitted guys, but to treat them as if they're committed and already part of the team in these conversations that they're having with them, and come in and say, hey, bring it in together, put your horns up, and in with horn, I think hook them or whatever they ended with, is creating that team effect, not just for the committed guys, but the uncommitted guys, to give them something to think about as they decide where they want to go come signing day.
Yeah, thank you, Gamers Live. $5 super chat, still catching up. 2 times the speed, but rest in peace to Dave Campbell, who helped make Texas high school football world famous. Absolutely. Like, there hasn't been a year go by, even with the cover this year, they had the A&M defensive line, on the cover, still finding the need to pick up Dave Campbell's Texas high school football. Greg Tepper and his team do a fantastic job, of talking high school football and helping guys like me understand where the good kids are coming from, what redistricting, who's playing who, through all the classifications of Texas high school football, and the names to look out for, with their sophomore, junior, and senior year, that help us do what we do. It's our program is research driven. Like, we have to understand the names that we're talking about and where they come from and how well they played. And Dave Campbell absolutely played a huge part in what we do.
Yeah, it's like Jeremy said, you can buy a whole host of magazines like we do during the off season to try to put as much information as you can as we go through the really the postseason and start going through position groups and all this other stuff. But there's nothing like Dave Campbell's high school football magazine. It is the Bible of Texas football. It's always going to be like that. It's not going to go away, but definitely rest in peace to him as well. Thank you, Gamers Life, for that super chat. We definitely appreciate it. Trying to go through here some comments. I've seen some comments there.
I didn't want to see this one. Malik Murphy just got injured, looks bad. So this is probably a 30 to 45-minute show. We're going to hop off here and probably go join that game. Hopefully it's not bad. But prayers to Malik Murphy. Hopefully it's not that bad.
Yeah. Johnny Munoz here. He talked about me. If Quinn Ewers commits to Texas, that me or you have to get a mullet. Jeremy definitely couldn't get a mullet, so it'd fall on Clint. Definitely, Clint's not going to rock a mullet. I don't have enough hair to even start a mullet. Like, maybe, I don't know. I just wouldn't have anything up here and maybe a mullet in the back. And then he's talking about, me or you go blonde. I don't think that's an option, man.
So I retire. My plan is to retire in early 2026. If Quinn Ewers leads this football team to a national championship, my plan is to grow out my hair after I retire. If I still have it, my plan is to grow out my hair after I retire from the military. If that happens, if Quinn Ewers commits to the University of Texas and wins a national championship, I will definitely dye my hair blonde. Now, the mullet, I'm not so sure, but my wife would definitely be fine with me growing or changing my hair color to blonde, for a short period of time if we win a national championship.
Right here, Working Man. It's on live, brother, and it's going to be recorded. Working Man here. If
so, we need a pic.
Commits to Texas, I will get a mullet. So we definitely going to need a picture. You can send it to our DM, and we'll post it as part of our show here. So Quinn Ewers commits to Texas. Working Man,
the Navy vet,
will grow out a mullet, and it can't be one that you go shop for either. Okay, we're not gonna, it ain't gonna be no wig.
Real stuff.
Real stuff. You got to grow your hair out into a mullet. Working Man. Thank you for volunteering for that. We appreciate it. Girls play tonight, man. Volleyball, right?
Yep.
At 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. 9 o'clock. Late game. Yep. Against Nebraska. Yep.
Lexi's son still there?
I have no idea.
I don't either, man.
I don't worry about anybody else's roster.
There was some fire behind that last year, though.
Oh, there was.
There
There's
was
going to
some
be some
tweets.
fire
Remember the
tonight,
tweets?
too. Yeah.
There were some tweets that went out last year. I think specifically, from the Texas volleyball Twitter to Nebraska. So there's definitely going to be some fireworks in that volleyball game. I think so. If you have an opportunity to go watch that, the girls volleyball team, it's an Elite Eight, if I'm not mistaken, Elite Eight against Nebraska tonight.
They shot a picture on Twitter a little bit earlier, 50 minutes till the game, and the line was awfully long. So I think it's going to be a sold out crowd. I think they're going to be wild as they were the other day, and we needed them. And Coach Elliott said that as well. Like, if they weren't at home and hosting that regional, there's probably not a good chance they're getting out of it. They dug themselves up against Washington. So bring that fire tonight against Nebraska.
Yeah. So it sounds like Malik just went down with an ankle injury. So hopefully not too bad. Hopefully not too bad. Prayers for him, though, that he's going to be okay. Sarah 21, Liberty 9, it looks like, with 6 minutes to go in that game now. So
I looked it up. Lexi Sun is still on the roster of Nebraska volleyball, so she'll be playing tonight.
I'll definitely be watching. All right. Moving on to Cody Phillips, 3 horns. Hopefully those 3 horns equal 3 commits. They're going to happen. Wonder if we get a Sark after dark tonight, man. That would definitely get some more momentum going. Queen B, I don't know if you're following on Twitter, if you're on Twitter, or if you watch our show. I don't know if she's watching tonight. Usually if she's on, she'll comment in the chat box. She thought we're going to break Twitter today, and I wouldn't have disagreed with her at all, man. My thumb was sore from like all the refreshing, man, that had to go on today from different sites and Twitter and all those other things, man. But it's a good place to be, man. You got to be happy with the coaching staff at this point. You got the number 7 ranked recruiting class in the country, according to the composite on 247. It's a good place to be. That's kind of where I want to leave it at, man. And we'll kind of see where this momentum goes through tomorrow into Monday, and then obviously National Signing Day being on Wednesday. Me and Jeremy will do a National Signing Day live on Wednesday. You're good with that, Jeremy?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So do a National Signing Day, early National Signing Day live on Wednesday to talk about those that have already signed, maybe some surprise commits that happen on that day. Hopefully there are some that pick up that hat. But we just kind of want to get on here tonight. I know we were going to do a show tomorrow. Jeremy's got, I think, duty tomorrow. So that is out of the picture. So we definitely wanted to get on here tonight. I told you we wanted to do at least 2 shows a week. But hey, y'all have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Keep your Twitter on. Whatever, Longhorn boards you look at or sites, keep looking at those. And what do you got? Would you just pull up?
Just National Signing Day stream. I may have Colleen probably do a National Signing Day chat, probably starting at noon. It'll be you guys, of course, because we'll be anybody who wants to pop on. I'll be checking it from work, but maybe a National Signing Day. Not promising anything because I'm gonna have to ask somebody else to run it for us, but maybe a National Signing Day chat that runs from probably noon to 6, and then we'll come on 6 or 7 whenever we get settled from coming off from work and decide to do it. We'll then talk about the 20 or so kids that committed. Try to give you a quick little rundown of where they're from, what they bring to 40 acres, and then the holes that still need to be filled either through the transfer portal or the National Signing Day 2 in February. But yeah, just looking forward to it. And like you said, man, this coaching staff gets a lot of grief, from the performance of 5-7 record. But I would like to know any other program that has the appeal to these athletes after a 5-7 season, and not a rookie head coach, but a guy coming off his first year who would be able to pull a top 10 recruiting class. And I think we're well on our way to definitely finish. Now, right now we're 7, according to 247, but with the names of the guys that we talked about are crystal ball, find our way in the top 5 after 5-7 years. So it's still, again, we talked about how we wear burnt orange glasses and we're trying to take them off and look at the program for what it is and the roster for what it is and be more objective and not subjective. But days like today are exciting. When you grab, like you said, the top offensive lineman since 2007, it means that we're going the right direction. That Kyle Flood can get the kind of athletes that we need to turn this program around.
Yeah. Steve Sexton, he has coming up here. Looking forward to the show tomorrow. We're not going to do one tomorrow. That's why we did one tonight, because we wanted to give you 2 shows. Unable to do one tomorrow. Jeremy's on 24-hour duty tomorrow at work, so he's unable to do it tomorrow. Our next show will be on Wednesday, and that will be the early National Signing Day live stream. We'll do that here from YouTube. So that'll be the next show that we do. Before y'all get off here, please hit that like button. Please hit that like button. 130 folks in here right now. Please hit that like button. If you have not subscribed to our channel, please subscribe to our channel. This is a good time to do it so we can come in here and discuss, because this is not just me and Jeremy's show. This is everyone that watches the show. This is y'all's show, man. And we try to grab as many comments as we can within a 30-minute time frame or an hour time frame, because we really want to hear your thoughts on where this program's going, what we're doing, how we're doing. But damn, we appreciate each and every one of you. Like I said, Jeremy put out a tweet today seeing if we could get to 2,500 followers on Twitter. And hell, I think we might have hit 2,900 while we were on here. So definitely love being with each and every one of you, passionate fans of the Longhorn program. But y'all enjoy the rest of your weekend. Hopefully have a Sark After Dark tonight, or we get a commitment tomorrow to keep the ball rolling into next week. Hell, if we get something on Monday and Tuesday, me and Jeremy may have to do. If something gets announced Monday that's big enough to do a show, me and Jeremy will be here doing a show. Well before Wednesday.
Knock on wood, I got like I said, I start vacation on the 18th, so hopefully I have a very light weekend or very light week next week. That's what's on the schedule, but it's always subject to change. And so we're prepared to do a show on Monday or Tuesday if something pops, for sure.
Pops. All right. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and hook 'em.
Hook 'em.